So hey, how you doing? I'm back again, back in the US of A. I'm going north up to Dallas from Houston. I'm here for the 61st anniversary of the J.F.K. assassination. So as you can see, a bit overcast today. I'm on my way up there. Lee Harvey Oswald, 6th floor, supposedly took the shot. My arse, he took the shot. No frickin' way. So anyway, I'll intercut with this video from the point of view of that window looking right down to this spot, so you'll be able to see where I'm stood right now back in the day. So to the left, the grassy knoll. The middle here is where Jack Ruby was actually in prison for 2 years afterwards. Obviously Ruby shot Oswald outside the police station. We all saw it live on TV. Well, I didn't see it, but you can see it on YouTube. It was up there for a couple of years. I mean, that's bizarre that Ruby were actually up there overlooking Dealey Plaza for a couple of years while waiting to get sentenced. Obviously he died of cancer, so they say, but anyway, that's another story. So why I'm stood here is there was numerous railroad workers stood here on the top here, and they said just to the left here, I mean it's about what 200 yards to the picket fence to the left there, so the puff of smoke go up from the last round. They said there were 4 shots. The last round came from the grassy knoll.
Yes, I looked over to where I thought the shot came from, and I saw a puff of smoke still lingering underneath the trees in front of the wooden fence. The report sounded like it came from behind the wooden fence.
At the time the shots were fired, sir, did you see any police officers move in any particular direction?
Well, about the time that shot was fired, the Secret Service man in the president's car stood up with his submachine gun pointed at that exact spot.
At the wooden fence?
At the wooden fence. And a policeman throwed his motorcycle down in the middle of the street and run up the embankment with his pistol drawn. He was running toward that particular spot. And also another motorcycle policeman right behind him tried to ride up the embankment on his motorcycle, and it turned over about halfway up the embankment. And he got off his motorcycle and left it laying there and run on over to the fence with his gun in his hand.
Over there, Daltex building, and I forgot the other one's name, but there were 2 shooters, probably 2 shooters on the top. One from the Texas School Depository, I can't even say the word, and it weren't Oswald, no chance. He was down below waiting. He was involved, but he weren't a shooter, but that's for another story. And there were another shooter from probably the Texas School Depository on another level. There were numerous guys seen up there with radios and all sorts of shit, but like I say, if you look into it. So now I'm just going to show you now to the left where the railroad workers were. I think there was the best vantage point, which I'm going to show you.
Where were you on November 22nd, Mr. Dodd?
I was standing on the underpass, Commerce Underpass in Dallas, Texas.
Were you there alone?
No, I was along with 3 friends of mine.
Railroad men?
Yeah, all railroad men.
Mr. Holland was one of them.
That's right.
And did you see anything which might indicate to you where the shots came from?
Well, we all 4 seen about the same thing as the shots. The smoke came from behind the hedge on the north side of the plaza, and a motorcycle policeman dropped his motorcycle in the street with his gun in his hand and run up the embankment to the hedge.
So yeah, there were numerous guys, and they said to the left here, puff of smoke through the trees. These trees have grown up hell of a lot, and they're a lot more dense to when it happened. Maybe probably the same amount of greening, because obviously 61 years tomorrow to the day. That's why I've come to meet some cool people. So now I'm going to walk you around where James Files were. So James Files is 82-year-old now. Apparently, I can't believe I went here last year, he came and he was talking to everybody. I love to have met the guy. He would be an interview. So if you watch the video, I probably might intercut in. This is where the original railroad worker
Jumped this steam line, this pipe, and one man right behind me jumped and another one jumped right on top of him.
Fell on top of him?
Fell on top of him.
And were there more cars here on the 22nd than there are today?
They were bumper to bumper. It was just a sea of cars. You couldn't hardly get through them. We were jumping over the bumpers, over the hood of the cars to work our way to the spot that we saw the smoke and heard the shot. Then we came up to the wooden fence.
Mr. Holland, did you remain behind here for a while when the police officers were searching the area?
Approximately 15 minutes before I had to go back to my office. There was about 40 or 50 people around here searching.
And what did you find here?
A lot of footprints behind this car, mud on the bumpers. And I looked around to see if I could find some empty shells or any evidence of a shot being fired and the bullet shell rejected from the gun. And this is where I saw the smoke from the third shot.
So yeah, that's just the reverse. The back of there was where Lee Bowers was in the signal box. As you can see just up there, Lee Bowers. So Lee Bowers was in the signal box when it happened. He said roughly 10-15 minutes before, a car drove around the car park numerous times and then parked up down here, station wagon, he said, and then two guys got out. He also said at the time of the shooting he saw a puff of smoke around this area.
The car was a 61 or 2 Chevrolet. This car was muddy all the way up to the windows as if it had just come in off the road. It had an out-of-state license identical to the first car of the series. And it also had political stickers on it, which were not only for the same candidate, but were identical in nature and color, so that they appeared to have been from the same group. This car was occupied by one male who spent a little bit more time in the area than the others and probed down by the side of the tower where I was located. I could not state that these cars left the area entirely, because after they got back onto the extension of Elm Street in front of the school depository building, they were lost to my vision, so that they could have remained very close by. Immediately after the shots were fired, of course, was mass confusion, to put it mildly. But the area was immediately sealed off by, I would say, at least 50 police within 3 to 5 minutes. The first one to appear on the scene, other than those, of course, who were standing around, including 2 on top of the triple underpass, was one who rode a motorcycle up the incline coming up from the lower portion of Elm Street. And he rode perhaps 2/3 of the way up or more before he deserted his motorcycle. At the time of the shooting, in the vicinity of where the 2 men I've described were, there was a flash of light, there was something which occurred which caught my eye in this immediate area on the embankment. And what this was, I could not state at that time, and at this time I could not identify it, other than there was some unusual occurrence, a flash of light or smoke or something which caused me to feel like something out of the ordinary had occurred there.
For me, the perfect shot is here right on the corner, and then obviously line the shot up. That's the shot, but Files said he was further back here.
Holding the Remington fireball down below the fence at this point. motorcade, come down, I believe that's Main Street there, come down on Houston, turn back around on the Elm there, and come down that little side drive there. Oh, when it come down and made its first right, that's when I brought the weapon up. And then I'm over the fence, and as they come down, made the turn on down there, that's when I started focusing through the scope and following the car. As shots started ringing out, I started counting the shots, but I'm not counting like 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm counting them miss, 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 because I know we're going for the headshot. So I don't care how many rounds are being fired as long as we get a headshot. But I'm hearing the shots being fired, and I'm counting them as a miss, miss. And that's the only thing I'm concerned about. I've got this sign there for the Simmons Freeway that is fixing to come into my field of fire. As far as I can see at this point, the President has not been hit in the head at this time. I've seen the body lurch. I know he's been hit. How serious, I don't know. But my last instructions was we're going for a headshot. If you have to take a shot, take it. But don't fire unless it's a necessity, unless you really have to. He said, Jimmy, don't fire unless you have to. We want everything from the backside. I'm not asking why. Okay, whatever you say. At this point, as it starts to approach and come behind that freeway sign, and I've already been instructed not to hit anybody but Kennedy because they didn't want Jackie getting hurt or anybody else, I'm fixing to lose my field of fire. And at this point, either I shoot or I can put it in a suitcase and leave, one or the other. I took the shot. I fired one shot only.
And where were you aiming?
Well, I was aiming for his right eye, which to me is the left side of his head looking head on. But for him, it would be his right eye. And once I pull the trigger, I'm right in on it, and it's almost like looking 6 feet away through the scope. As I squeezed, take off my round, his head moved forward, I missed, and I coming right along the temple, just right behind the eye.
And he said he actually put the round that came out of the gun, which dropped on the floor here, he actually put it on the fence on there. And he says if Charles Nicoletti would have known, which was the mafia guy, they would have probably done something to him. But he was just, because he was a joker, he said basically that he was just going to leave a marker. And then guess what? Oh, also he said that he bit into the bullet to give it a mark on it. And guess what? 1987. Guess what they found down there? A bullet. The bullet had got the markings on it, so maybe it was his. Anyway, I'm going to carry on walking around now to the spot. So this is the back of, again, the iconic, what you always see with the shots, is the back of where Zapruder were. This is where a lot of authors and speakers do their talks. So I'm now going to line up the shot for the Zapruder. Here's the guy who's the artist who I talks about. How you doing there? He's there, look. What's your name for everybody to know?
I'm Roger Jones.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, some of his artwork he's done, all originals. Pretty cool. I think he's just actually doing one now, look.
So I think a person
Likes telling the stories. So, Zapruder. This is the spot where Zapruder was. So as usual, I'm going to have to get up on the top.
A gentleman just walked in our studio that I am meeting for the first time, as well as you. This is WFA TV in Dallas, Texas. May I have your name, please, sir?
My name is Abraham Zapruder.
Mr. Zapruder?
Zapruder, yes, sir.
Zapruder. And would you tell us your story, please, sir?
I got out in, about a half hour earlier and get into a good spot to shoot some pictures. And I found a spot, one of these concrete blocks that I have down near that park near the underpass. And I got on top there was another girl from my office. She was right behind me. And as I was shooting, as the president was coming down from Houston Street making his turn, it was about halfway down there, I heard a shot. And he slumped to the side like this. Then I heard another shot or two. I couldn't say what it was, one or two. And I saw his head practically open up, all blood and everything. And I kept on shooting. That's about all. I'm just sick again.
I think that pretty well expresses the entire feelings of the whole world. You have the film in your camera. We'll try
Yes, I brought it on the studio now.
First shot, second shot, third shot, headshot. Let's zoom in. There you go, the X. So across the road there is where the famous Mary Mormon shot was took, the reverse point of view angle. So yeah, Abraham Zapruder, dressmaker, had his 8mm camera. He weren't going to come to this spot, he was going to shoot downtown early in the day, but because it was raining he decided not to. And then one of his colleagues went back and got his camera. So Robert Groden, who always comes here, I've got his books, he was the one in 1975 who actually got the Zapruder film put live on TV. So that's the first time the American public saw the film, and then they saw it, what we see now on YouTube, which says it all, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick walk down here, let you have a look at the most ridiculous one of the lot for me is the drain theory. Came down here once with my old mate J.F.K. He said Mexican in the drain, shot up, killed J.F.K. I'm like, you're off your absolute rocker. So some theorists said that there was a rifle poking out of the drain down here. There we go. Let's not get killed. There we go. Rifle poking out. I mean that's rifle poking out, angle up to the car, couldn't be done. But anyway, just, I mean, you can see now, look how much the grassy knoll has changed. The trees, not that much. Obviously this is a bit more to the left. So I'm just going to have a walk up here now. So I'm just going to, there's the X. Make sure I don't get run over. My mum will tell me off for not looking left. That was where Ruby was, up there. So yeah, the window, boom, shot down there. I've been and looked through the window back in the day when you could go up there and look through. Guess what, they don't let you look through the window. You know why? Because everyone goes, no freaking way did Oswald take that shot from up there. There you go, look. So let's land the Mary Mormon shot up. She was a bit further up here. He came down here to the left, turned. I mean, look how close you were here. I mean, I think apparently she stepped out into the road here, looked up, Mr. President, boom. So if you look at the videos, you can see the footage and looking right up there. So if you line the Mary Mormon shot up, over there where the tree is, zoom, that's the shot. So that's where Badgeman were on the photo. If you zoom in, it looks like a guy with a rifle shooting back. So that then debunks the theory of James Files saying that he was one of the shooters. The other name is Rosco White, Dallas police officer, joined 2 months before the assassination, and he was a known badass, basically. I don't know how the hell he got in the police. Ex-Marine, also, guess what, served with Oswald. Coincidence? 1957, I think it were, he was on a ship when they got shipped out. So yeah, Rosco White. Interesting story about Rosco White is
Rosco White, a Dallas officer who fired the fatal shots.
My father, being a Dallas police officer, had the cover right here on the knoll because he had the credentials and everything to be able to identify himself.
Ricky says his father's diary, taken by the FBI, says that Rosco White really worked for the CIA, that his code name was Mandarin. White says the diary details how 2 other agents, Lebanon and Saul, fired the first shots from the book depository and records buildings above. Then his father allegedly fired from the grassy knoll.
The fact is, Rosco White was a professional assassin.
Some Kennedy researchers say White, not Oswald, may have killed the president, and Officer J.D. Tippit investigating the case. They say information found in White's military footlocker referred to White's involvement with a government assassin team called Rifle, his friendship with Lee Harvey Oswald, and his wife's job as a dancer at Jack Ruby's club.
Yes, it bothers me. But my father did what he was told to because he was told to do it.
Ricky White says he is now negotiating with the publisher to print his father's story. Some researchers say there is more reason than ever to reopen the Kennedy case.
So, back in the day, they used to say that this manhole cover had got a bullet fragment that chipped it, but I don't know. Again, this is like a good shot of grassy knoll where everybody. I mean, when it actually went off, the four shots, everybody on this side of the road just run up to the fence. Still didn't run towards the Texas School Depository up there. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, I'm just going to show you where James, I think it's James Teague, was stood here, observing another great view. And he got, I think, a bit of concrete, one of the rounds shot off, and chipped on. I think it caught top of his forehead and grazed his head.
He says, "Where were you standing?" I says, "Well, down by the Enterprise." So we started walking down there, and when Walters got about, I'd say 10 feet away, he says, "Look there on the curb, there was a very visible mark on the curb where a bullet had struck. Either a fragment of the bullet or a piece of the concrete had flew up and scratched my face." And he said, "Go to the city police headquarters and make a statement," which I did.
Mr. Teague, this is a picture of Dealey Plaza, as you know. I wonder if you'd be good enough to show me where you were standing when you heard the shots.
I was standing at the east end of the triple underpass between Commerce and Main. There's a little concrete divider there. It's about 3 feet wide.
And, sir, could you indicate where the bullet struck the concrete curb?
The bullet struck the curb on the south curb of Main Street. It would be right here.
And at the time that you first heard the shots, what was your impression as to the origin of those shots?
My first impression was that they had come from the left of me.
Would you indicate on the picture where that would be?
Up in this area here towards the hill.
Where in relation to that wooden fence?
Well, somewhere towards the wooden fence.
So I'm going to shoot across the road now and I'm going to run up the grassy knoll. You see how steep it is. This is where numerous people run up this side of the fence. There were numerous guys behind this fence who was flashing Secret Service credentials. Guess what? On that day, there was no Secret Service in Dealey Plaza on the ground, but there were numerous people flashing badges saying they were Secret Service. Get away from this area. So you can imagine running up, the famous shot of the guy on the motorcycle got off the bike and run up here with his pistol. You can see the shots on YouTube or in books. Like I said, this is where I think, just having a look, numerous people came up to the fence, looked over the fence. Look, perfect shot there, look, of everything. Over there was where the trains were. That's where the hobos, they pulled so-called hobos off.
You know, Woody Harrelson's dad was involved in the assassination, and he confessed multiple times.
Woody Harrelson's dad was involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
He was not a shooter. What he said his role was bringing, when the shooting started on from the grassy knoll, a big crowd of people saw the smoke coming up, and they ran up to look at it, to see what was the source of it. And Secret Service men suddenly appeared on the hill and pushed them all down and said, "You can't come up here." The Secret Service later said there were no Secret Service people on that hill. Charles Harrelson's function was to deliver the Secret Service badges to a group of people on the hill. What he says and what a lot of people say who were there that day.
That is a photograph of one of 3 so-called tramps who were apprehended and then mysteriously disappeared on the day of the Kennedy assassination. And the fellow was, I'm told, at one time positively identified as myself, which is ludicrous if you look at the man. I was 25 the day Kennedy was assassinated, and I would say that gentleman is probably in his mid to late 30s at the very least. But the facial structures isn't even close.
There's my new friend who been having a chat with. There you go, sir.
Hello, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good, mate. It's nice to meet someone who's got the passion for all this.
Yes.
So tell us a quick bit about your paintings.
Well, I have a couple different kinds of paintings, some of which I do in watercolors here for people who like something in the category of a postcard. This is where we are. Here's the Texas School Depository building.
Yeah.
This is the grassy knoll. Here's one of the X's where Kennedy was struck by gunfire when he was ambushed. And I have some pictures over here paying homage to Kennedy himself.
Yeah.
I think the camera's on him right now.
Yeah.
It's patterned after a fairly famous photograph that was run in the Dallas Morning News. It was before Kennedy made 2 turns and his motorcade came down to where he was ambushed here. But people whose families go back and have an emotional attachment to Kennedy are more likely than others to buy the Kennedy photo. But
So just tell us a little bit about yourself. What did you do for a living?
I was in the newspaper business for a career, 45 years, and I do some do-gooding things, some volunteer work, and this is my hobby, my avocation. There's a pull to this place. There's people from all over the world who visit this place, and I get their signatures in their hometowns and from every continent. They come here. They're drawn here by in some cases, there's family grief that is being processed generationally. And in other cases, they're here because, let's face it, for this country at least, I consider it our #1 crime scene. I mean, is there something bigger? 9/11, certainly a lot of people were killed. It was in broad daylight, but this was a president of the United States in broad daylight in front of people who left their offices, left their places of employment to come out during a sunny November day and watch the president get shot in the head right before their eyes.
Just over there. So this is a pleasure. Judith Baker. So Judith Baker was a girlfriend of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got an interesting background, David Ferry. Joe Pesci plays him in the film.
I didn't go.
In
Too
J.F.K.
short and too high voice.
Right. Okay then. So anything else? Do you think he did a good job though, playing him?
Well, he showed him very much more nervous than he was a good leader,
Right.
and he was a lot more sensible and intelligent than they showed him.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the film in general? With it, obviously the New Orleans thing with the Camp Street. Because you worked up the road, didn't you, at the coffee company?
I mean, they even had the mice in there. You know, even though we had white mice, not colored ones.
Right.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
But I mean, didn't you work at the coffee company just up the road from
Camp
Street?
Remember, that was a cover job. Lee Oswald and I both were hired at Standard Coffee for 1 week, where we had all of our files and all of our background was laundered.
Yeah.
After 1 week, we moved at the same time to Riley Coffee Company, and there I was to make sure that as the so-called vice president's secretary, of course I couldn't even type that fast, but there I was.
Yeah.
I would cover for him because he wasn't there half the time.
Yeah.
So they would bring the time cards to me and say, look, we can't find the guy. And I'd put made 40 hours, and write my J.
Yeah.
So all that, and we have found those records. The FBI held them back for years.
This might sound a sensitive question here, but have you ever met Marina?
We've spoken, but we don't mind each other's business. We understand that there are difficulties, and to leave good enough alone.
Yeah.
You notice she isn't saying anything, and I don't either.
No.
All right, it's not her fault. That little girl that was born in the United States, if she hadn't cooperated, Robert Oswald, Lee Oswald's brother, said they threatened to deport her. She did not cooperate.
Yeah.
So there you are.
I've been up to the grave, to Lee's grave.
We're going there Sunday.
Are you going Sunday? What time are you going Sunday?
Well, we're having the symposium Sunday. I am from 9 o'clock until 1.
Okay.
And we'll have some speakers there. And then we're going out to the Lee's grave. And we always do this and put flowers down and roses.
Yeah, I went last year.
Lee knew what was going to happen because he penetrated, you see, by pretending.
Did you ever meet Clay Shaw?
What?
Clay Shaw?
Of course.
Yeah?
Oh, yes. He called himself
What
Lambert.
about Tommy Lee Jones in the film portrayal of Clay Shaw?
That was okay.
Pretty good?
Yeah, that was
shot, pal. Come on, give me a shot. Interview.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see.
All right, no problem. But anyway, just me being aggressive. Sorry about that.
No,
Footloose guy, Kevin Bacon.
Oh, Costner. You mean the one that played Garrison?
Oh, go on then. I mean, you didn't mean Garrison, obviously, did you?
Well,
you were district attorney in New Orleans.
Garrison was district attorney at that time. Yeah. And when I first got off the bus there, the first thing I heard was a gunshot. And somebody said right away, that's Garrison. He's raiding the strip clubs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. But anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I wish I had more time.
Then. So yeah, no.
Well, why don't you come to Sunday and I'll give you more. You can walk to the grave.
Last question I want to say. So if Lee didn't, we know Lee didn't take the shot. Who were the shooters in your mind?
Well, I wasn't here in Dealey Plaza.
No.
But I'll tell you who didn't do it. It wasn't Lee Oswald.
Yeah.
And they blamed him within. Get this, Hoover actually put out an edict saying that he was the only one involved the same day Kennedy was shot. I have the records on that.
Yeah.
I mean, how did they know that without even doing any investigation? What a lie.
I think you shrunk, Pat. Or have I got bigger?
No, I did shrink.
Yeah.
I went from 4'11" to 4'10".
Okay.
Not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, old age is bad enough, but then to shrink, that's even more of an insult.
Do you know, when I watch our interview back, I enjoyed the interview. I thought it really cool.
Well, I'm so glad you
what's
did.
happening? What's the latest on your place then? Have you keep getting people want to buy it to flatten it, which is ridiculous?
I'm not going to let that happen.
No.
Absolutely not.
What about the family though? Are they going to keep it?
Well, they're coming around to the idea.
Are you got us both in here?
I do.
I think he's been drinking, man.
No, puffing a cigar.
Forget a cigar. Cameraman don't smoke cigars on interviews.
You don't smoke, you puff.
Do you know what I mean? He's like, I don't like this guy anyway. So go on then, tell us what's going to happen then.
Well, my son, my oldest son from South Carolina, Chris, he came to help me with the surgery, replacement of my knee, and he has stayed all this time. So he has learned a lot about the assassination, my stories, and things like that.
Yeah.
And so he's starting to think maybe this is something that he'd like to do.
I hope he does, because it's one of the few places that's left.
Yes.
It's the original.
Yeah.
You know?
And we really need to save the Neely house.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where the famous picture of Lee holding the guns.
Yeah, do you know that guy? I mean, we spoke about it on our interview. What is he going to do anything with that or what? Because last time I went, it was such a mess.
Yeah, it's still a mess.
Yeah.
And so we.
I don't like to bring bad news, but I don't think that's going to last. That he's not looking after it; it's just falling apart.
If he's not going to take care of it, the city will tear it down.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, have you heard what they want to do to this place?
Yeah.
They want to put it into like a plaza and just.
No.
Yeah, no.
And that is something that we've got to
need to get a
fight
petition going.
about. We've got to fight them about that. And I think there's enough people that love the memory of Kennedy
Oh yeah.
and such.
I think
they will rally and we will save the
I think there
plaza.
needs to be younger people like myself and younger than me that need to get more involved, and that's a problem. I think a lot of younger people are not really that interested. Really,
You're right.
It's a
You're
shame,
right.
isn't it?
But surprisingly, lately I have been getting younger.
Oh, that's good.
Audience.
No, that's good.
So that means the younger people are slowly learning.
Also
they have to do their own research and question what they are being taught.
Also, the other thing is, with doing things like this, the young audience watch things like this because it's short attention span content. They don't want to read books anymore. They want to watch quick videos.
That's
right.
So
maybe, hopefully. So just pitch your place.
Yeah.
Just tell them about your place. If anybody's going to watch this on TikTok, I'm going to put this on TikTok. So tell them why they've got to come to your place.
Well, one, I have all of the original furniture that was in my grandmother's house in 1963, including his room. And you can sit down with me and ask all the questions you want about the assassination, and we will get into the who's, the hows, and the whys.
And the whats.
Yes, and I share some of my memories of actually knowing Mr. Oswald.
Yeah, Pat met Mr. Oswald. I think there's somebody here to take it away, I think.
Okay.
This big guy.
Oh, I think that's a great story you have. So you knew Lee Harvey Oswald?
Yes, I did. Yes. Thank you, love.
Listen.
Oh, is this Pat Hall?
This is Pat Hall.
It's Robert Morrow.
The
I
legend.
talk to you all the time.
The legend.
Huh?
She's a legend.
Yes, no, I've been...
Anyway, get a kiss, Pat.
She came and showed respect and desire to learn the truth. So maybe we'll see you next year. Maybe we won't need to. We'll see. Thank you.
Mr. Groden there. Top boy. Sign me book. Tex. I'm in the shop.
Now a gentleman from Canada. By the way, some of you may be from other places. I know it's getting a little tired.
Oswald's girlfriend.
Thanks for being here. I hope you bring the message to everybody.
Now.
Here's
This
Jill
dude's
Lezon.
blocking my shot.
He comes from
ASC
Canada. He's been a
masterclass. I
great
just want to kick him in the ass,
getting,
knock him out of the way,
books
but
out that,
you know what I'm saying.
So I'm very pleased that he's here. Jill.
Come on, dude.
Thank you very much, Judith.
Move the camera, T.
61 years ago, a few feet and a few yards away from
it too.
Yeah, I've got two versions. I've got the. Come back to the shop. He's in my shop.
Sorry.
He's in my shop. Say to my audience in UK, I do YouTube stuff.
Hi guys.
Legend. He's the man. J.F.K. Assassination. You're the man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean? Oh,
I mean, the block is shot.
yeah. I mean, what days do you come down now? Come down.
Well, it's been so hot all year. We've pretty much stayed away till about a month ago.
Yeah. See, I've been down about 3 times this year at the weekends to see you, but I know you've not been very well, have you?
Well, no, we've been fine. The only problem is the heat. It's just been too much.
Right. So, one question. Can I answer one question? I know you're busy today.
Go ahead.
I mean, I've read everything. My granddad started me with it when I was a young boy, even though I'm born and bred UK. And I've read everything there. I've read all your books. I've read all Garrison's books. Yeah. So, one question: if you think, who in your mind do you think, if you could name the shooter on the grassy knoll? Because we all know there was a shooter on the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
Who would your money be on?
Not Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
We don't know who it is. We know that there was somebody here, and he's going to fire the fatal shot. We don't know who it was.
Yeah. But if you were a betting man, I don't know if you're a betting man, who would you go for? If I said to you, I've got $1,000, who are you going to put it on? for charity. And then Trump releases the files and we find out who it is.
Trump's never going to release the files.
You reckon?
Another guest we have, Robert Groden, who was celebrating his 18th birthday on the 22nd of November in 1963. He was profoundly touched by the president's death, and he desperately wanted to understand how it could have happened. For 2 years, he, like most Americans, believed in the official version, the Warren Commission version of what happened, but the day he first saw that 8mm Zapruder film, that amateur film that was made, that was the day he stopped believing. Robert, welcome, and I wish you could set up the Zapruder film a bit for us, and we'll get right into it.
Okay. Abraham Zapruder was a Dallas dress manufacturer, and it was pure accident that he brought the camera with him that day. He almost didn't. And he was looking for a good vantage point, and he picked a point on Elm Street in Dealey Plaza.
You make 20 of them, I don't care.
Yeah. He's a legend, man, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He's a legend. I'm not just saying that.
I know that.
Every time he's there,
he's a J.F.K.
he's
celebrity.
Garrison,
He's
man.
the reason we have Zapruder.
Yeah.
And I actually remember that.
Araldo show. Araldo, 1975, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It all changed.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that must have took some doing.
Vicky wants to talk to you. She can't get down the stairs. So many people want to talk to you today.
Anyway, Anthony Hargate. No problem, sir. Anthony Hargate, that for me is like meeting one of my idols. Legend. Absolute legend. Over and out.